without further ado, let's get this party started up. Welcome to the showcase follow-up. We came up with this idea because a lot of you, did participate in showcase, but for those of you that didn't have the opportunity to either go to showcase or didn't get enough, right? Because that was one of the things that I got, from a couple of people. I'm like, oh man, I wish we would have had a little bit more time to really, dive in deeper into some more details. So we have set basically until 3:00 today to go into this in-depth training. And I'm sure that Louie and Galen, are you guys going to both collaborate on this training today as well? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So I just wanted to make sure, but you guys are going to be in for a treat today. We're going to be talking about commercial foreclosures. Louie and Galen are in the city of Whittier. They have a beautiful office out there, and they've done a tremendous job of really putting together a great system platform. They were before they got to eXp, they were both in two different brands. Galen was Keller Williams, Louie was Century 21. They both decided to partner up together here at eXp, and they've done some tremendous things. So I'm very proud of you guys, and you guys are crushing it, not only in the commercial, also residential with the foreclosure side. So very excited for what you guys are going to share. I encourage all of the listeners to please bring your full attention and awareness to this conversation. Look for that nugget that you're going to be able to extrapolate from this training that you can take back to your business to implement. And that's what Louie and Galen are going to be talking about today. I want them to get into details of what things you guys can implement that will help you to go out there and not be, like Galen just said, right, one-dimensional, to be able to look at the entire picture. But without further ado, thank you so much, Galen, Louie. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much, and excited for you guys to share.
Let's go, guys. I hope you guys are ready for this, because we're going to have some good stuff. First of all, I just want to tell you guys, the only reason why I'm here is because of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. This is on my desk all the time, guys, all the time. Just wanted to get that and let you guys know that I'm a soldier of God, and here we go. And the only reason why I'm able to be successful in this business is because I am. He's done some tremendous things in my life, which is, I'm so grateful for his mercy. And look, guys, I can't begin to say how thankful I am, Leo, of putting this together, and thankful for doing the follow-up, man. And I hope everybody gets a tremendous amount of information out of this, and some nuggets on how they can grow your business, expand your business. There's one thing that is really, like, it is in my heart and on my mind a lot, is making the switch, not making the switch 100% from residential into commercial, and still make some money, right? And still able to maximize your business as far as growing your business and getting different sorts of income from commercial real estate that you guys don't know this yet, or maybe you do, on what I'm going to talk about and what Galen's going to talk about. I did come from Century 21. I started the commercial division there. I've been in the business 8.5 years now. My 4th year in the business. All glory to God is that I was number 8 worldwide in the Century 21 system, number 8 worldwide. And that was my 4th year in the business, right? My mindset is completely different. I take this business very serious because I have a responsibility to be of service. So this, it's not my purpose, it's not my why. God is my purpose and why, and my family, and to leave a legacy. And then I wanted to hear a little bit from Galen about, just to get her background, so you guys know a little bit more about her. She's an amazing person. Her skills, in business, her mindset, the knowledge that she has, the wisdom that she has in this business. You ladies pay attention to her, man. She is phenomenal negotiator. Blows my mind how, like, I know that when we're in negotiations, and we're in negotiations with other agents, I hear her conversation, and sometimes it's not fair. It really isn't fair, because she's a phenomenal negotiator, man, and it's scary listening to her.
Just having fun. Just having fun.
So if you guys ever want to take a negotiating class or something like that, go to her. She's great. Because
I
look,
think that'd be fun. That would be fun to do here one of these days. Yes. So thank you so much, Louie, for the warm introduction. And thank you, Leo, for having us on here today. It's such a pleasure to do that for everyone. And yes, we coach every week as well at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. So right after this, we're going to be going on in person. We teach, and we've been doing this coaching and mentoring for a long time. So yes, in regards to our backgrounds, I've been in the business close to 20 years. I started in residential, you guys, and I started when it was going up back in like 02, 04, 05, those are the golden years. And then all of a sudden, of course, we all are starting to experience some of that similar pain that we all felt back in 08 and then on through the years onto the upswing. But it was in that moment that I decided, I always wanted to do commercial, and I jumped in. I just head dove into it. And it was just something that I really always wanted to do. I like numbers. I like the black and white. I like the fact that things make sense and there's not that much of emotion. There's still a little bit in there, but it's got to make sense. And I love that about commercial. And so, but I always teach, don't let go of your day job, which is your residential. I always keep that in the background because you want to have some closings, right? You want to put food on the table, for some of those women, for women in the business. I think it was also fun thing to see, to be one of the, there's not a lot of women in commercial. So that was also a fun thing for me. I think Louie enjoys the same thing. When they tell you no and you can't do it, that's when I think we do our best. So the challenge, the uphill battle, I think that's what we just thrive in. But in doing that, I concentrated on leases a lot. And that was what also was very lucrative for me back then, and got real good at that. And so that just kind of leveraged that into sales as well with commercial. And then, of course, as I always mention, keep the residential stuff going. So you have 10, 15 deals going on at all times. So those were some of the things that we focus on, we teach. But in joining forces here with Louie and the gang here, it's been just phenomenal and just kind of 10x'd everything now at another level. So it's been really fun now in doing everything that we're focusing on. So big projects, a lot of fun stuff. Just even today, right? We're at several meetings that are just involving some big stuff that's really exciting. So we'll take it away.
So I'm gonna give you guys a perfect example of what our day's like, and then I'm gonna get into how you can make some things happen and create some more income in the commercial space and how to go after it, right? So we went on an appointment yesterday, a couple of young guys, very entrepreneurial, aggressive, great guys, humble guys, called and said, hey, I need your advice on what we can do with these assets and how to move them, right? Which is great. So here's one thing that I would say up front is that you guys, there's a lot you can learn off of YouTube and Google. And literally, when I started, I Googled and YouTube so much that I put in hours and hours. So the thing is, it'll prepare you when you go to an appointment on what words to use when you're starting off, on where to find the person that you need to get the answer from, what questions to ask, what to listen for, right? And what the response is going to be. So here's one thing that I get asked a lot. I get asked is so what do you think about this property? Give me some different options on how to sell this asset, right? Because look, right now we're in a perfect time, guys, where you can buy your own properties. And it's not as difficult as you think, right? Because right now, look, the way the economy is, we're in the perfect position. I started off in the foreclosure space. So I learned the most difficult part of the business is foreclosures by far, I think, in my opinion, right? So I was able to move into commercial real estate. I mean, of course, I got my knee scraped and got beat up, but learned a lot through the process. But I was able to adapt a lot sooner than most people because of coming from the foreclosure space. That being said, to learn how to have a conversation with commercial people. Look, for people that are on here that are doing residential, here's number one thing I'm going to say is that and I've said this before, is that how many people have a conversation with people that are in residential when you're prospecting for sellers, right? And you're prospecting for buyers. A lot of these people, not a lot of these people, but some people that own residential real estate own businesses, right? And they might own a commercial piece of property. Their income might be coming from a business, right? A restaurant, a bar, a store, and anything like that, right? Commerce, right? So they might be owning a business. You need to ask those questions when you're on the phone prospecting and asking them, hey, I don't know the script anymore about prospecting for residential, but add that to your script. That's a really gold nugget, guys. Add that to your script. Do you own any commercial real estate? Do you own a business, right? And if they open up and they say, I do. And especially if they open up and say, hey, I'm going to sell my residential property, right, Galen?
Yes, just a couple
And
more
I'm moving
questions.
out of state, right? But who knows how many people have you sold residential properties for, and they've sold their property to move out of state? I believe, and I know for a fact, there's some missed opportunities there, right? Because let's say that Galen owns a residential property and she's moving out of state to sell her property, because we do a lot of this. And they move to Florida, they move to Texas. A lot of people move to Florida and Texas. But who sold their business? Who sold their commercial real estate? You might have sold their house, but how do you know that they didn't own a commercial piece of property or a commercial business? Right? You'll never know until you ask that question. That's a valuable question, right? So let's get into, I'm going to let Galen answer this. Let's get into what would you reply if they said, yes, I do own a commercial property. Could you help me sell that as well? Or I do own a business. Can you help me sell that as well? I'll let Galen answer that.
Okay, so yeah, that's a loaded question. So yeah, what do we do after you say, wow, okay, let me reach out to Louie and Galen. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so what you typically would do, we definitely partner up with you guys. But what we do, of course, we ask those business owners, okay, so how much income are you making, right? We go based on income and expenses. We always take a look at what is that you're generating. We take a look at their business. We want to look at their books. We want to take a look, maybe do a sit down, maybe have a conference call to understand better what are they trying to sell? What is the type of business that they're in? Are they leasing? Do they own? If they're owning, so that's great. What type of building is it? Asset type. Now we're going to go into asset types. I know it's we only have a few minutes here, but the main ones is industrial, retail, office, multi-units. So which type do they have? Are they occupying the whole thing? What type of business do they have, so that we can understand the type of business that they have, and then is it zoned for, what we're zoned for. So that helps us to discover, we're in discovery mode here of understanding what we're sitting on, what we're working with. So once we understand and kind of peel back that onion of the different layers, then we can understand how many escrows we're going to have here. We're going to have business sale, we're going to have a lease, do we have an actual commercial sale here? And then are we involving maybe a third potential transaction? We have probably 2 transactions going on here, and maybe trading up, which means 1031 exchange. Now we're jumping into finding another property for them. So you can quickly end up in about 3 transactions in a matter of minutes. So, but you got to understand how to, break down all of these pieces and see what we're working with here. So a lot of great opportunities, like Louie just said, that we could be leaving on the table.
And I did a reversal of this. So I had a guy say, hey, Louis, there's a guy that wants to sell his commercial real estate. I know that you sell commercial real estate. Here you go. Help him out, right? I went to his house. I got the commercial, the commercial property that he wanted to sell. And then he asked me, he said, do you sell residential? I said, of course. Right? I could help you with the residential. So just it's a reversal, right? Like it's the same thing, but in your shoes, right? So I was able to help him sell his property, his commercial property and his residential property, and help him buy another property in Texas. right? And helped him sell his commercial property here and buy 3 properties in Arizona, auto zones, right? So I was able to handle all of his real estate needs. From that gentleman, I believe I made over $600,000 or $700,000 off of him because it was multiple commercial properties and multiple transactions for his homes. And that guy is still my client, right? And look, Galen is very knowledgeable in the business and she knows her stuff, right? But let's break it down and say, let's say a restaurant, right? Let's just say a typical restaurant that somebody owns and you're on the phone with them and you're talking to them about selling their house. And they said, I do have a business and I do have a real estate as well. And it's a restaurant. Write these notes down, guys, because you're going to run into these opportunities. I guarantee you, if you're prospecting, you're hustling, this is going to happen because it happened to me. Okay. And we all know somebody that owns a restaurant, right? The way a restaurant is valued is that it's valued by, it's a multiplier. It's called a multiplier. Okay. So let's use that for an example. A multiplier for a restaurant, depending on how many years it's been around and how long that business has been successful, the multiplier is about a 2 to 3. So 2 to 3. All you do, this is how simple it is. All you do is double what they net a year. Now, how easy was that? Right, Galen?
Yes, it depends. Sometimes they go 2.5, the multiplier generally is about that. And that's if they're making money, guys. Make sure we get to the net number.
Yes,
all the
so
time.
all you have to do is find out, and here's the simple question, really simple. How much do you net a year? How much do you make a year net? And if they tell you how much they make a year net, you can come up with a number in your head, right? Because all you're doing is multiplying that number, right? So you can sell that business. Now, if it has take some notes here too, guys. If it has a beer and wine, you can sell the beer and wine with the business. So it makes it more valuable, right? Okay. But remember this, and I guarantee you guys are going to sound like damn superstars if you remember this, okay? If you sell a business and it has a beer and wine, that's 2 escrows. 2 escrows. Why is it 2 escrows? Because you're selling the beer and wine license and you're selling the business. Right, Galen?
Correct. That's right. Separate escrows. You got to be careful, make sure that you're using an escrow that knows how to handle businesses as well. Not all escrows are created equal out there.
Yes. And look, here is something really valuable, guys.
Hey, Louie, before you get to beer and wine, let's just say, yeah, you got that. What is that valuation that you give it? Because you give us like the multiplier is 2, right? For the restaurant, right? So the net it's 400,000. That business is worth 800K based on the formula you just gave us. And now, if they have beer and wine, what does that look like?
So good question, Leo, right? Let's say it's beer, wine, and liquor, right? Let's just say it's beer and wine. Let's just say it's beer.
Yeah, there's different types of licensing guys out there.
So there's different types of series, guys. This is series 41, series 46, 21, 47, right? Start writing these down and take these notes. These are very good notes to take. Because
you can find them on Google and YouTube. So
thank you, Galen. It's so simple. All you got to do is Google series 21, series 48, series 47, right? And you Google those numbers for beer and wine, and then somewhere entertainment, beer and wine, okay? And somebody comes and says, hey, look, I want to sell my business and my real estate. And you say, hey, do you have a series 21, 47, or 48? They're gonna be like, that's the person that is going to sell my business and my real estate. Just like that, because you just use those words and all this stuff is on Google. It's crazy, right, Gillen? It's just unbelievable.
Look for buzzwords, just be familiar, and just even talking, just even being amongst us, we're flying, stuff's flying through the air in here. We're constantly talking about different types of deals, but you just got to be amongst the people, if this is the area that you wish to go into and you will not really take it serious, then you really have to be in that ocean, right? Be surrounded by the people that you really want to become, and or be surrounded by other people that you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? We heard that over and over and over.
And with this, you're making more money as well. That's just it. That's the bottom line, right? So Leo, I'm gonna answer your question, okay? So depending on what series that beer and wine license is, right? They have different values, guys, right? Some can be 150,000, some can be 75,000, some can be 50,000. It all depends on which one it is, okay? And guess what, guys? You can Google this. Really simple, right? So imagine somebody telling me, just like what Leo just asked me right now, what series is your license? And then I'll know what they are. I don't have them written down right now. I'm just shooting from the hip, but I do have everything. And
Yeah,
I have everything
they
here.
allow you to serve different types of liquor and or times to serve as well. So, to hold the highest level of the type of license is important. So knowing what you have is really what we're trying to say is important to know and understand that. And then the value that does add to it, to the purchase price, because they're also very hard to get. You got to get in line to order them. And we do have some contacts, right, to help you along the way with that too. But
Yes, absolutely. We have contacts. Because I'm in the commercial space, I've been able to contact a lot of people that own commercial real estate. Guess what? These people that own commercial real estate have political contacts, and I've been able to get into that whole. It's a different space, guys. And I would definitely make commercial real estate a part of my business, 1,000%. Because if I was to say the earlier me, if I would have learned about finances and commercial real estate first, forget it, right? I'd be on an island right now, right? And well, maybe not, because I love that work, but right now, look, I'm not gonna brag, but our numbers are at like right now, numbers are, I would say, like 275 a month right
I think
now.
we're hitting like number 6 in the nation.
Yeah, so we're like 275 a month. That's our gross revenue, about 275 a month, averaging 250, 275, 250, 275,000 a month right now, right? Because I'm able to do commercial real estate and some foreclosures, right? And that's not even including the flips. That's not including the wholesaling I'm doing right now, because I started out in the foreclosure space. And then I went from that to commercial foreclosures, and I've been
We're
able
investors as well. Yes.
Yes. So we buy a lot.
Yes. You got to think that way, you guys. Think like an investor. Your questions become differently as well, too, when you're speaking with principals and landlords, owners, past clients, right? Your questions will become a lot different.
100%. Now, you know what I want to do? I want to see if there's any questions about what we just said right now, we talked about right now.
I don't have any questions regarding exactly what you just said. I took a bunch of notes, but I would say is, all right, cool. We got that. What are the top 3 lead generation strategies that somebody could implement today to go after business, right? What are the top 3, would you say?
Let's I mean, I could answer, but go ahead, Galen.
Okay. Pass it, throw the ball. Okay, so what I would say, I think it's always my favorite, COI, right? You guys are sitting on gold. I always come when I talk to agents who are like trying to join or trying to, partner up with us. I go, what's your past experience? Where do you come from? What's been, some people come from corporate America. Like they worked at a large company and they have a lot of experience with that. Others, maybe they were maybe working with their dads or moms, they own their own business, mom and pop shops. Find out what it is, what's your background, of course, and taking it off from there, but also your own COI. And gosh, you guys are sitting on so much opportunity right there just to even start the conversation about, not only thank you for purchasing the home that we just closed on, or how are you doing, Mr. Owner, seller, that you guys worked with together. Again, they may own a business, they may own a restaurant, they may own a boutique, they own a large industrial property. The sky's the limit as to the opportunities that you can develop there. And so whether it's leasing or purchasing or selling, that right there, I would just be calling all day long. The other one is you can door knock businesses. The other day, we took our team down the street. We door knocked on all these boutiques, stores just up and down the street from our office, and we had a lot of fun. The one beautiful thing about businesses, when you door knock, we're all in the same sales business here, so they can't close the door on you. In fact, we enjoyed some of their food. I had some waffles, and I ended up with some shakes, and who knows? I mean, it's just you can have a lot of fun building relationships. So it's about building relationships, and it's just, again, sky's the limit. We ended up with 5 different types of leads. What they wanted to lease, they wanted to sell, they wanted to buy in a matter of minutes, just going down the street, opening up the door and asking how they're doing. Another last one that I will say, network. I love attending events with the city chamber, business chambers. Again, it's just hanging out with other business-minded people. You're masterminding and you're making business.
Yep.
It's so much fun.
100%. Here's one thing that was amazing, right? We went business knocking down the street right here because we're on Greenleaf in Uptown Whittier. Here's the thing, like the one guy that owned the business, but he was leasing the space. I asked him, I go, do you live in the area? He goes, no. I go, would you prefer to live in the area closer? He goes, oh, absolutely. Well, then would you be open-minded to buying a house in the area because your business is right here? 100%. So guess what, guys? I got the guy to say yes, he'd like to move into the area to buy his house next to his business and lease another spot in this area, right? A bigger spot. So this guy's business is growing. Well, if his guy's business is growing, then he's doing well. And imagine how we could help him buy a property, a house in the area. So it's just like the same thing on your guys' end. What I would say is like, you guys are asking about them selling their house. Well, we're on the other side saying, hey, would you guys like to, or do you have a house did you like to sell or buy? Right? Because we're already talking about real estate. What my main thing is I'm really focused on is no missed opportunity, man. 1000%, no missed opportunity. Because look you're going to be in a situation where if you leave a stone unturned, that's a missed opportunity, 100%, right? Because I just passed up on a guy that wants to sell his house, but I didn't ask him if he owned a business. I didn't ask him if he's moving out of state when he sells the house, right? Do you think that guy's gonna go with me instead of somebody else? If I say I could sell your house and your commercial real estate as well, one-stop shop, right? That right there is golden, right? He's got 2 escrows, 1 person helping him through the whole process, right? So if we sell the real estate, the business, and his beer and wine license and his house, that's 4 escrows, right?
Yes.
3 is just from the business, beer and wine, and the commercial real estate. Don't make that mistake. I made that mistake early on. Don't make that mistake, okay? I didn't know. I thought it was 1 escrow. So don't let that happen to you. I'm letting you guys, I'm giving it to you guys.
I know you're one of the masters of creativity. So I want people to understand creativity in commercial real estate. Oh my goodness. I mean, again, sky's the limit. And I love how you just, the creativity that you put together on some deals is amazing. So I would love for you to share too, one thing we also get really good at is seller carry, or being creative with purchasing properties. If you can give us an example of just some of the things that we tend to do around here, it will be a lot of fun.
So 100%, guys, look, here's another not missed opportunity, 100%. I know that we're all in sales, right? We sell real estate, right? Or maybe we do other things. We run a business as well, but number one is, if this person says, you know what, yeah, I'm thinking about selling, maybe, well, ask them this or ask her this. Well, what would motivate you to sell, right? Because right now, look, the interest rates are very high. In commercial real estate, they're at 7, 8%. That's very high, right? But let's just say this guy says, I want to sell my property, but there's no clients to buy his property, right? Because the interest rate's so high. Number one, never leave this off the table. Always ask if they're willing to carry. Ask them if they're willing to carry. Because a lot of these guys understand that there's people right now that can't qualify for these properties, right? But these guys that want to buy these properties, they're going to ask for a lower price so they can qualify because the interest rate is so high, right? But if you tell these people, look, I'll sell your property if you have if you're open for carrying, right? You guys know what carry is, right? That's when the seller will be the bank. Okay, when the seller is the bank. Let's say I'm going to use, for example, a $500,000 piece of commercial real estate, which is not around very much. And I tell him, look, I have $200,000. Can you be the bank for the other $300,000? And we'll put an interest rate together and a payoff together, 2-3 years, right? I can refinance the property once the rates get better. So that's what a carry is. Okay, right, Galen?
Yes, yes, and all that creative, and you can set up the terms, and it's legal, you guys. This is escrow takes care of these, and they're servicing companies that help you collect the monthly mortgage rents, and you can get creative, like interest only, principal and interest. And the beautiful thing is that all these terms, can be negotiated straight away with an owner and a seller. And we've had people on our team pick up opportunities, and turn them into Airbnbs, and they are just making, like, gosh, I mean, couldn't believe it, the way they grabbed it just by door knocking on the door. And they knew how to carry the conversation, and that was gold right there.
Yep.
Well, you guys, this by the way, guys, I just wanted to say this, literally what they're saying right now. I just did that for another one of our team members yesterday. I've also done a seller carry with one of my clients that was actually losing their home. And they just said, Leo, I'm going to walk away from the house. I'm going to move out of state. The property had equity. I caught the payments up in arrears. I, went through escrow company, got the insurance and everything. I became the owner. And then 3 years later, I ended up selling the property, making, 150,000 plus on the sale. But because I had that knowledge, and like what you guys are learning right now that you guys have your antennas listening to this, you guys are going to be able to put more deals together. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. I had a gal that 550 is the balance for the seller. The property, they want 700. They're having a challenge selling it, but they have an interest rate of 4.5. Buyer came in and said, hey, we're willing to make the offer, pay the difference from the 550 to the 700. And are you willing to become the bank? And the seller is now going to become the bank. The escrow company is going to execute, run the prelim. And by the way, these are only one week escrows, not 30 days, right? The bank is already done, right?
Yeah.
So the seller gets their money. The buyer gets the property at a great rate. And worst case scenario, right? You base it on the terms, 5 years. If they were to default, then you also can foreclose on the property and then get the asset back, which I advised the seller. I said, look, put 6 months of reserves on the side, save that money, which is like 25,000. Worst case, if you got to foreclose, you're going to take the asset back. Now you made the equity. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. So literally that example just happened yesterday. So it's interesting that you guys are sharing that today. So good
Yes.
stuff.
And the seller, thank you, Leo, for sharing. Seller tax defers too. That's another win. It's amazing. So people can tax defer for a short, until they pay out the entire loan amount, but it's great. Win-win all the way.
Yep, that's exciting stuff, guys. Remember, so I'm gonna finish the carry. Let's say that the person says yes. Well, they already know the interest rate's at 7 or 8%, and you tell them, look, I can get this deal done, and I'll come in and buy the property, and you be the bank, but let's do it at 4%. Let's do it at 5%. Let's do it at 3%. Let's do it at 3% and adjust the next year, and then adjust the next year a half a point or another half a point in the third year. We did a deal, or we went into escrow at $18 million. We negotiated, we represented the buyer, went into the deal at $18 million. We negotiated all the way to $14 million. Guess what the carry was? The buyer came in at 5 million. They're carrying 9 million. Guess what kind of carry we got? We got 0.5%. The first year, 0.5% the next year. So 2 years, 1%. The third year, 1.5%. That was just a home run for the buyer, right? But here's the thing. Here's the most important thing. By the way, what's going on, Richard? Here's the most important thing, man. If we wouldn't have said anything, if we wouldn't have introduced the opportunity for a carry, we would have never put this deal together. If we wouldn't have went into escrow at $18 million, I said, look, I know the seller wants 18 and the buyer wanted, it was too high. I go, look, let's just get into escrow. I call it, let's just get into escrow and then let's negotiate. And guess what? We negotiated $4 million down to 14 and a carry at 0.5% one first year, 0.5% the next year. It was the home run, grand slam, right? Because these guys wanted to get rid of their properties. They were doctors, right? But we were able to put that deal together, right? And that comes with negotiating. We teach negotiating as well.
And understanding, you guys, that right now to get a loan is so tough. There's so many requirements, right? And those interest rates are so high. So these seller carry type of opportunities are becoming so popular. You're going to start hearing more about it if it's the first time you're hearing about it, or whether you have heard it already before, but it's just becoming more prevalent. So much fun to see some of these opportunities, and just don't lose sight of those kind of things. This is just, again, makes you even more valuable in front of your clients, or as you open the door to more options. Yeah. Yes, Melissa, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I have an appointment tomorrow with someone that one of the owners passed away. And so it's very hard for the son to take over with a loan. So then one of their uncles, he's gonna pay the loan of 60,000 and he's gonna become the bank for those 60,000. But the cool part about that is they call me as a lender. I'm not gonna give him a loan, but I'm gonna charge him 1% of the value of the house. So right there was basically a deal with no money, and then now it just turned into money.
Yep. Here's a really, really, really important thing, guys. Research comes into it. I'm constantly researching where the market is. Where the market is. What's going on with the stock market? What's going on with the housing market? What's going on with the commercial market? Very, 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 very important to do that, guys. Take a little bit of time, research and if you guys text me, I'll send you some really good stuff that I'm watching, that I'm looking at, that I'm following, because you got to listen to where we're going, right? Because look, don't just leave yourself in a bubble and doing one part of real estate, man, because if that business goes in the dumpster, then you're out of business. But if you open it up to commercial leasing, foreclosures, then you're gonna outlast everybody else. Because right now, look,
yes,
the hustle that I put in at the beginning of my career is, and somebody told me a long time ago, they said, look, you have what it takes, but you lack knowledge. You lack knowledge in the business. You get that knowledge, Louis, the business is going to come to you tenfold. And that's what's happening right now, right? Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because that same individual told me, don't get into commercial real estate. It's not for you, right? That was the fire that I needed, because I said, I'm going to show this guy that he's wrong. And then 3 years later, I was number 8 worldwide in the C21 organization, right? Number 8. It was awesome how I made that jump, right? But it was the fire that was in me saying, like, okay, I'm going to show you that this is possible, right? Fast forward, I did a $35 million foreclosure. I've done a $28 million deal, right? I was in negotiations with an $80 million deal. We just barely missed that one, right? But how did I took the test 15 times, guys. 15 times I took the real estate exam, right? So
And it's not that hard, guys. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys can, like Lou was saying, Google, you can YouTube a lot of your way in through a lot of things. Of course, we coach and mentor, but I learned, I was, you go CCIM. It's one of the greatest designations you can ever have. You can use your regular license to go through regular transactions in commercial, guys. Okay. Because some people think, oh, can I use the same license? Yes, you can. But, there's certifications that are available on car. You can take that to get yourself a little bit more familiar with, more the commercial sense of things. People always ask me, where do I go? So ccim.org, I can include that in there, or you can always, we teach every Wednesday, can join us, we don't bite, we're friendly, we work with people. There's one thing about other commercial agents, they tend to not share or be very hard to communicate with, or even they don't even pick up the phone sometimes, but we do share, we do like to partner up, and we do like to collaborate. And so it's something. Leases, again, going back to that really quick, you guys, don't leave money on the table on that. It's so easy. They're very lucrative. There are no escrows involved. You can close those things in about 2 weeks, or sometimes they go a little bit longer, depending on how complicated they may be. But you can make from $2,000, $60,000, $100K, more than, sometimes these are very lucrative pieces of income. So don't leave that out of the picture. So once I realized what that was about, boy, I was just like, it was game on. So if some people can just dedicate, I was just doing residential leasing and commercial sales, so again.
here's the benefit, right, Galen? Here's the
What's
benefit
that?
of leasing. Here's
Yes.
the benefit, right? You're leasing this person's property, right? And by doing the lease on their property, what happens when they're ready to sell the property? Who are they going to go to, Galen?
One-stop shop over here.
One-stop shop. They're going to go to you, right? We know how to sell real estate. All you got to do is learn that leasing component, man. And you cannot tell me that you cannot learn the leasing component.
Yes,
There's
it leads
no
to
way.
landlord relationship. Then you have a pulse on what's going on with with everything that's going on with this building. And then you'd be the person to call when the next thing he thinks about selling. And so it's
I'll
just
give
great.
I'll give you a great example. Some guy, and we're going to go into some questions right now. So I'll give you a great example. Some guy called me yesterday. He says, "Hey, Louie, this guy wants to sell his business." Okay, how long is the lease? A year. And I said, not long enough. I need the owner's number. Galen calls the owner, talks to the owner, and then, like the owner is open for possibly selling the property. Great opportunity, right? It went from a lease to possibly selling a strip mall, right? So it went from a commission of maybe like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to $110,000, $115,000, $130,000. Pretty nice, right? And you got to calculate this stuff on your mind. I did a lease. It was a $28,000 lease a month. Okay. So I'm going to do some quick math and show you guys how profitable this stuff is, because you start with the small leases and then you do the big ones, right? So $28,000 times 12, that's $336,000, and it was a 10-year lease. So times 10, that's a $3.3 million deal, right? So you get 4% of the $3.3 million deal, right, Galen?
Correct. And Melissa had the question about how we collect commission. That's how we do it. We base it on, it's on the base term, the entire term, not just a 1 month or, it's on the 3-year, 5-year, 10-year term. That's the percentage that we get paid.
Got it. So usually it's 4% then, right?
Yes.
So if the one I have is 2,400 times 12 times 7, that's 201 times 4%. Oh, 201 times 4%, that's 8,000. Not bad. It's like a
Not
sale
bad,
of
right?
a
But
home.
then where's that 8,000 going to take you, Melissa? Where's that
Yeah.
small, that lease going to take you? It's going to take you to
Yeah.
big leases, right?
Well, I'm gonna have a
here.
relationship with 2 new people. They're gonna need to buy their home, and then who knows, maybe in the future, they recommend me to other people because they went through bad service from other agents.
So let's get some questions, guys. Anybody have any questions?
Oh,
Come on.
Before we get to the questions, I wanted to just let you guys know I did drop some notes. I was taking a bunch of notes while Louie and Galen were sharing. Make sure you save those. And I did drop in Galen and Louie's Instagram, so you guys can follow them because they're always posting some really good stuff. They're posting all their trainings. And I did include their contact information as well. Go ahead and reach out to them, because this is the thing, guys. Once you guys get somebody that's interested, right, and you guys are like, what do I do now? Right, contact them. You guys can partner up. You know, that's what a knowledge is worth way more than whatever your thoughts are about potentially making a commission. Like, you rather have part of something than 100% of nothing, right? So make sure that you guys reach out to them when you guys are putting those deals together. But yeah, let's open it up for questions. This would be an opportunity. We got about 9 minutes before we conclude the call.
Awesome. Hey, Louie. Thanks
up,
for
Richard?
sharing. I joined on a little bit late. Apologize.
Cool, man.
I have probably 24 hours worth of questions, but I'll just give you two. Number one, you might have covered it. You talked about in 2 weeks, the commercial market might be taking a dump because I think rates are going up. I wanted to know more about that. And then the second question I had was, what are the main lead gen pillars for getting commercial business?
Got it. So number one is they're going to start calling these loans because they did a 2-year loan for an asset. They got it at 2%, 1.5%. They bought this asset, right? They were supposed to refinance this loan out. They can't refinance this loan out because the interest rate's too high, right? And then not only that, the lenders are calling these loans now because these assets are not performing. Okay, so they're not performing. That's question number one. Number two, and I did talk about that before you got here. So number two is we have phone numbers for everybody that owns commercial real estate, from here to Texas to Florida to New York.
Across the nation, yes.
All the phone numbers. We have scripts, right? We have OMs, which is offering memorandums. We could put your faces on these properties and say that you helped us sell these properties, and we could reach out to these sellers. You guys could reach out to these sellers, right? This is what we teach, right? On how to get these assets. Look, if you're willing to put the hustle in, man, you guys, we could show you guys how to make a tremendous amount of money. And I don't know. The biggest commission I've ever made was 1.2. So, and this comes from a guy that took the test 15 times, guys. So I don't want to hear that you can't, or it's too difficult or it's too hard, right? I have to learn 5 times more than you guys because I have to hear it over and over to get it, right? But look out, man. Like, I've earned a seat at the table now. That's what I call it.
If you ever see Louie in action on the phone, I mean, he's just punching numbers and giving a person, you know, he doesn't have to tell somebody, hey, let me get back to you and run some numbers and I'll evaluate the property and call you back. No, he just does it right there on the phone, gives them a number, and this is what your property's worth. And, you know, closes. We close on the call. There's no such thing as like, let me get back to you. You can lose the deal. Somebody else can get in the way at that point in 24 hours. So he's a master at that, guys. It's just great to watch it in action. But with that, talking about the loans, that's a great stuff. There's inventory popping up, you guys. I mean, can't say enough about that. Those 3-year, you know, those loans coming due this coming year, and then there's another set of loans coming due 2025, I think it is. So it's just tremendous amount of inventory that's about to hit, and it's just pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and right now, Richard, we're swamped with business. We got multiple streams of business coming from retail, coming from industrial business, real estate, but all glory to God for us, man. All glory to God for me and Galen. We owe it all to him. We're in his favor, man. You know what I mean? Because look, guys, do me a favor, follow the Chilo Foundation, CHILO Foundation. It's on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this before I get off. If you guys give and give and be of service and feed the kingdom of God, he's going to take care of you, right? And don't do it because it's going to be because of financial reasons, right? But look, we're taking 100 kids camping from Skid Row on the 7th for 3 days, and this is the 4th annual we've done it, right? And we do a lot of other stuff. On the 30th, we're taking 100 kids. July 30th, we're taking 100 kids to the Dodger game from Skid Row, right? We rent buses. It costs us like $60,000 to do the camping trip, but it doesn't matter. He's feeding and he's supplying her, and we're getting more and more business, man, more and more business, right? And we just, you know, it's all glory to him. We just want to do kingdom work, right? At the end of the day, I know this is kind of tough for you guys to probably wrap your head around, but it doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to him. And as long as I keep it there, I stay out of the way. I stay out of the way, meaning like we're our worst enemies sometimes. So me and Leo always talk about staying out of the way.
Yep. Amen. Amen to that. We definitely just got to get out of the way because there's opportunities every single day. We get in the way.
I
Yep.
love it.
You
I
know.
love it. Me and Leo were talking about the other day as well. I've decided to get out of the way as well because it is all him. It really is. So
Right on,
I'm
Rich.
in that same belief, brother.
Just go, man. Let's go, man. Just, you know, look, don't overthink, because I don't overthink it very much. And Galen knows this. Like, when I have an inclination about something and I have a feeling about something or a transaction or a deal, I move, man. I just move and I let my faith and my knowledge and my experience get me this deal.
Yeah,
Right.
we just get out of the way. I feel like he's in that mode. Okay, let's go. So it's so much fun. It's
But-
awesome. Awesome fun.
Look, at the end of the day, I only learned it and I was a truck driver for 23 years. I drove trucks. I had zero experience about real estate. And I've been in real estate for 8 years. So
Truck driver, failing the exam 15 times, 8 years in the business. If Louie could do it, guys, you guys can all do it.
I left out that I was a drug addict and I've been clean for 14 years. So look,
Congratulations, man.
thank you, brother. Thank you, man. So anything is possible. Anybody can do it, right? And I don't have any
God
shame
be the glory.
talking
God
about
be-
that, right? I give him all the glory.
Thank you so
And
much.
with that, guys, we're holding an event coming up July 19th, right, Leo? That's
Right.
Believers in the Marketplace.
That's right. That's right.
So love for all of you guys to join us.
Absolutely.
be here to get-
Amazing event the Galen and Louie are putting together. We are going to be sending out all the marketing via email. So you guys are going to hear about that live event and get out there, right? Because you guys got to continue to listen to these type of conversations, right? Like your awareness is now you guys have more awareness. Okay. And when I initially spoke to Louie, this was, a couple years back, when he was saying all of these different terms, I was like, bro, this sounds Chinese to me right now, right? And I was honest, right? This sounds Chinese. But as I've been, in his proximity with himself, Galen, the rest of the team, I was like, this doesn't sound like Chinese anymore. Like I'm getting all this stuff now, right? So you guys need to continue to show up to these trainings and continue to do the activities and get yourself on the court, right? Make some calls, right? What Galen shared, those 3 principles, guys, that's gold, right? A lot of us deal with like, what do I say when I follow up? Do you own a business, right? This is a good follow-up call. If I was you guys, I would literally reach out to your entire database and just pick up the phone and say, hey, wanted to just connect. I know that I've asked you about real estate in the past. I'm actually doing commercial now. Do you own a business? Do you want to own your business? Or do you know somebody else that I can serve?
That's it.
Right? That's it.
We're gonna do an hour and a half training now, guys. We're going into
got
our
warmed
training
up.
room.
We're
We're
warmed
gonna
up
do an
now.
hour and a half.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. I warmed you guys up for your next
Thank you.
presentation. But thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you, Galen. Thank you, Louie.
God
Appreciate
bless you guys. God bless you guys.
Yes.
Anything you guys need, reach out. God bless.
God bless. Thank you, guys. Peace.